These raised beds behind me look different, and that's because they are different. They've used the traditional method of charring wood to preserve the wood, make it last hundreds of years, chemical-free, and it's actually very pretty to look at too. We're with Jana Gaston today in College Grove, Tennessee, and she's going to show us a traditional Japanese method of charring wood. Okay. Tell me why a gardener would want to do this.
Yeah, so, well, this all started with us wanting to make a sustainable garden, right? Raise the beds, make it sustainable for longer. And it's kind of like the give a mouse a cookie. Then that led to, we don't want to redo this in 5 years. So we wanted to protect the wood, but I didn't want to do it in a toxic way.
Right, so you didn't want to use treated lumber.
Right, so I started looking and found Shou Sugi Ban, which is an ancient Japanese technique that's been used for centuries, where you char the wood and you go through a process. There are several steps: charring, scraping, cleaning, oiling. But what it does is it actually changes the chemical makeup of the wood. It modifies the cell structure, right? And it makes it more resistant to moisture.
So approximately how long will this wood last after you did this?
There are buildings in Japan that had this process done 500 years ago that are still standing.
Oh goodness, okay.
So, 500 years, we're going for that.
Yeah, okay. So show me what we would need to get this started.
Yeah, okay. So what I would recommend, you need to have steel toe boots.
Okay.
Something, because you're gonna be using a torch. I use a weeding torch. Okay. Propane tank. And of course all the equipment to get this safely attached, like tape and stuff. A lighter. I used a lighter, but there's also these lighters.
Right. Okay.
Respirator mask, because sometimes it can get real smoky. And then leather gloves.
Okay.
Several times I've had to run over and dump out a little fire on the wood or pat it down with my hands. So there's a protective step that you want to take. You want to probably have a fire extinguisher or a hose.
Okay.
Okay. I've done the grass fire stomp dance a few times.
Okay.
Until I learned to pull it further away from the grass.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's show.
Okay. The kind of wood is important. You want to use a soft wood. So teak wood, I think, is probably what they use in Japan. But here in Middle Tennessee, Eastern cedar is very available. I got mine at Grant Cedar Mill, which is out by Lebanon. We used mostly grade B wood, so which worked fine. We did have to do some, put some through a table saw to make sure everything was consistent. Yeah, because we needed all sides to be level because we put a topper. So, yeah, so Eastern cedar is great, soft wood. So you want to burn it until you've got a good burn, about 1/8 of an inch deep. The surface you want to look like alligator skin, slightly crackly. Okay.
Yeah. All right, and so we've finished burning it, and now there's another step we do, right?
There is.
Or 2 steps?
2 steps.
2 steps.
2 more steps. So equipment is really important for this second step as well. So number 1, you need a respirator mask, something to cover your hands. You need either a wire brush or a real stiff brush. And I would recommend a Tyvek suit.
Okay.
We found that out later. I started using scrub pants, and after scraping wood when they came off, my legs were covered in that ash.
Okay.
It just goes everywhere. Oh, and you would need goggles.
Okay.
Okay, something to
So what is
protect your
exactly,
eyes.
what is the purpose of scraping the wood and,
Yes.
and putting this?
Good question. So the scraping of the wood really just makes it so that you can go by it and not be covered black.
Okay.
And it helps to kind of seal that. The burning is really what, it changes the pH, which protects it from termites and makes it more moisture resistant. But so you scrape it, and then after that you clean it.
Okay.
You clean off all that dust, that ash.
Okay. Last step.
Last
Step 3.
Yes.
What are we going to do on this step?
Okay, for this step we need, what I used, you could brush it. I used a roller, but I used both sizes of the roller. Rags or heavy paper towels, I just got those at a big box store in bulk. I chose a garden food safe, non-toxic.
So you're sealing the wood with that.
We are sealing the wood
Okay.
with a food safe, non-toxic oil, okay? It just adds extra protection, okay? And I found it also helps keep that nice dark color, which I think looks classy.
Mm-hmm.
I also used a leaf blower before I would wipe off the ash.
Kind of like dusting it with
I
leaf
would dust it with
Okay.
a leaf blower so there wouldn't be so much wiping.
Okay, okay. Oh gosh, I guess it is dusty. All right, so we've seen how you prepare the wood.
Yeah?
I can't wait to see how you incorporated it into your raised beds.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about constructing these, how you went about it. I see there's some cinder blocks or cement blocks underneath,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then walk me through your process.
Okay, this was more involved probably than most people because we have such a sloped land here. We had existing cinder block beds that were, raised about that much, that were semi-level but not completely. So we started at the highest point, okay, and that was the first 4x4
Okay,
that we would plumb.
okay,
We would secure it to the first level of 2x6 that went all the way around. We had already made it into a box, put it down, we plumbed the first one, secured it to the board, and then proceeded to plumb the others.
and these are
Okay?
very sturdy, I noticed that.
They're very sturdy.
So
They're-
they will be here a long time.
They should be here for a very long time. My husband, Matt, is the designer, and he can design and build almost anything. So he came up with this design thinking that we could cover it and have a greenhouse, or we can secure a cattle panel for climbing vegetables and fruits.
Well, great. I want to talk a little bit about your vegetables next.
Okay.
I love this growth. And what kind of melon is this?
So this one is I believe it's called a Kahari melon. It's, you can see it through here. It's a cute little guy. It'll turn orange, and it's a muskmelon. And then on the other side, I have a Siamese bitter melon, which is more of a super food because it is a bitter melon, but it's a superfood.
And you do companion planting here?
I do companion planting, so my marigolds, this is a marigold. It's not blooming right now. This is alyssum, which attracts beneficials. I just put my cilantro here. I'm letting it go to seed so I can gather the seeds. You'll see I have some green onions in there, and here's something called purslane, which is a weed, and I have more of this in my lettuce green bed. This purslane is the only plant that is super high in omega-3 fatty acids.
Wow.
So we pull off the leaves, we let it grow, it's a weed. I actually plant it. I get heirloom seeds from Baker Creek, and I actually plant it. And we use it in our salads, or I cook it.
How's it taste? Is it bitter or no?
No, no, it's a succulent, so it has a different texture, but it still has a little bit of a crunch.
Okay, so what do we have growing here?
Yeah, we have purple whole peas.
Okay.
Love these. And since this is my first season with these raised beds, I should have used taller posts for them.
Yes.
So they're a little, I stuck a couple extra in there. But yeah, so I'll do that differently next year.
And in front here?
Yeah, I've got beets down here, and this is Bibbles the cat. We'll take her off. So I've got beets. These are the golden beets there.
We have some zinnias.
Zinnias for good pollinators.
This is so cool. Tell me about this vegetable.
Okay, this is a squash. This is one of my favorite vegetables. It's zucchini rapicante is how I pronounce it. I hope that's right. But we do a lot of zoodles, and I'm a nutritionist, so my husband has to eat all this stuff.
And before you go any farther, you have the hog fencing on top of this one, so that they can grow hanging down.
Yes.
Support, great support.
Because it's heavy, they're heavy. So what's great about this, especially if you zoodle, there's no seeds until you get to the bottom in this bulb, and so all this is great for zoodling. You can also slice it, and while it's young and tender like this and green, it's just like a zucchini. It is a zucchini squash, but interesting about it, if I let it hang, the skin will become harder like a butternut squash, and the meat turns orange like a butternut squash. So then I can actually save some of this into the fall.
All right, I've seen lots of basils. Mm-hmm. This little gal is actually very pretty. She's so ruffly.
Yes, yes, I love it. This is called lettuce leaf basil. And so I grow a lot of this. I've got several rows, especially around my tomatoes and my peppers and the eggplant that I have. So yeah, I've made over 25 batches of pesto this year.
Yum.
Yes.
This is kind of pretty, but you said you didn't plant it for a pretty. What did you plant it for?
I didn't. It's an extra benefit that it's so pretty. This is dreadlock amaranth, and I learned from a wise gardener that to cut down my cucumber beetle population, like at the beginning of the year.
Because on the backside here on the hog fencing is all cucumbers.
Cucumbers, and then I have some lemon squash here.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the year, I plant amaranth, and you can see there's only 2 leaves left. I left this to show you this. I pull the stem outside of the garden bed, and I'll dust just a little bit of 7 on the leaves, and then leave it for anywhere from a day to 2 days, and then I cut off the leaves. That's why there's no leaves on this. This is the only 2 left. But cucumber beetles love this, and they will start munching on this actually before my squash is blooming and before they go there.
Well, that's a great thing to know about.
Yeah, so I can cut down the population.
And where did you say you got the seeds?
Baker Creek, heirloom seeds. And that's where I talked to that wise gardener.
Is that where most of your seeds come from, is
Yes.
Baker Creek? Okay.
Yeah, I get almost all my seeds. I try to save them and replant them.
Curious, what is your growing season? What time does it start fruiting? Well, you said you plant your plants because you start them inside.
I
do. A lot of them.
I do.
And then, so like mid-May, in May?
My cool season vegetables, my lettuces and things like that. I have a little bit of lettuce over there that's ready to be pulled, and my carrots, which also need to be pulled now.
So really it's producing by the end of May, the cool crops.
It's producing by the end of May, and then I'll plant my garlic. I always plant around 100 cloves of garlic. in the fall, around November, 1st of November. And so we have that.
So you're harvesting pretty much all but maybe 2 months of the year.
Maybe so, yeah. Keep it busy.
Yes. I want to tell you thank you very much. You and Matt have done a wonderful job here. And this technique of charring the wood, I think people will find interesting because it's something new to try.
Yeah.
And it's going to work, and it's going to work for a long time.
And it's non-toxic.
Right. And your vegetables are just breathtakingly gorgeous.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
If you like gardening, you'll want to subscribe to this channel. We showcase gardeners, plants, and the joy that growing can bring.